Welcome, everyone. Happy Monday. Time for Versus. Big topic for the show today. We're going to talk the first two episodes of The Penguin. Is it a smash hit? Plus Megalopolis, which some might call Megalopolis. We'll get into it with our guests today. Great contenders on this episode of Versus. Alan Ing is eating in the wings. I see you, Alan. I see you. Let's go. Hey, everyone. How's it going?
Good.
Hello.
Fantastic.
All right. Good to have you back, Nerd Cookies. We need to tone down the male energy. That's what one person said. It was one person's complaint, but you add a lot to the conversation. I'll say I have really enjoyed your lore videos and the Dune prophecy.
Oh, thank you.
You've got me excited. So let's see who's here today joining us. We may have Dante James joining us late. Let's go.
Hey, so glad to be back. I am the script doctor here to diagnose all of Hollywood's writing problems.
What's going on, Angry Badger? I read the super chats and I love Penguin.
Hello. I am Nerd Cookies, and I talk about sci-fi and fantasy news and lore. And I guess I'm here to bring the female energy as well.
Yo, what's up? Derek Anderson, the DA. I don't know why I'm here. I just stumbled in, I guess. Or maybe I'm here for DEI purposes. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Alan Ing, editor-in-chief of Film Threat. Let's talk about the Acolyte. Oh, yeah.
It's the finger guns.
If the Wiggles can do it, I can do it.
Dog's like, I'm trying to sleep, bro.
All right. Let's say hi to some folks here. We've got a lot of people here. Badger, if you would, quick hi to everybody watching today.
Hi, everyone. No, Chicken Wing, member for 10 months, doesn't say anything, just wants us to say Chicken Wing. Stares at us all. The Chicago Buck. The Penguin so far is the best show I have seen this year. Agreed. Leslie Tarkin, The Penguin is a refreshingly good show. It's so fun to watch Penguin manipulate the Falcones and Maroney family. The lady who plays Sophia Falcone does an amazing job. Yes, she does.
Yeah.
Giggity. Tell me Alan and the Penguin couldn't be brothers. Leslie Tarkin, please keep the folks in Western, NC, NW, GA, and all the states hit by the hurricane. In your thoughts and prayers, the flooding from Hurricane Helene is really awful.
Yeah, I've heard from folks that are there that are safe. So yeah, our thoughts and prayers. My advice would be rename your state Ukraine, and you get a lot of money. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
If you're just called Ukraine, they'll send you millions.
Yeah. Woo Ronan, Penguin is can't miss TV. GJJ, member for 1 month, just shouting us out.
Nice. And I want to say I have a Film Threat 24 shirt got from the Film Threat shop. We did Atomic Glory is on point with new designs in the shop. We have our election collection. We've got shirts for spooky season. Here we go. Election collection. We have pins and shirts for a limited time. November 5th. They are gone. We also have our Drinker's Choice collection as well. We've got pint glasses, wine tumblers, and Get Retro with our classic sci-fi film logos reworked to say Film Threat. So go to shop.filmthreat.com for all that. So with all of that out of the way, let's welcome Dante James is here. He's here. He's late, but he made it. Hey, Dante.
I am here. What's up, everybody?
Hey, it's all good, man. It's all good. And in fact, Alan, Dante, and I and DA are going to see Joker 2 tonight. We will be doing a later stream, a Film Threat After Dark. It might be around 11 p.m. Actually, it probably won't be very long, but it'll be our reaction to Joker Acolite or what?
Olé adieu.
You know,
Allez, adieu.
The
What is
madness of two.
I'm not even going
Right.
to try to pronounce that.
yeah. But before we get to the box office this weekend, let's talk the Penguin. Alan and I gave our thoughts last week on episode 1. It has now become appointment television on Sunday night for me. Truly, it is that good. But I want to know what you guys think. So chime in with your thoughts for those who have seen it.
I think 2 episodes in, it might be the best show already this year. Two episodes in, I'm already calling it.
I was wondering that. I was having that same conversation. I was trying to remember, okay, what have I seen so far this year that is this good? And I don't think anything right now is in the ballpark. I mean, this is great television, great writing, great acting. What is her name again? The Sophia Falcone
Malati.
actress. Oh my God, man, she is diabolical. She is scary. She is killing this role, man.
We can
She
fix
is
her.
amazing. I'm entranced. Like, I can't wait to see her on screen when she's away. And it's between the two of them, Colin Farrell as well as her. They are like battling it out for supremacy on the show. And she is absolutely delivering the goods, man. I love this chick.
DA, I agree with you. I ship them. I think we should do memes right now.
God.
It's going to end horribly,
Everyone
but I
go
ship
for
them,
it.
yes.
Ship
No, we're not
Penguin
shipping.
and Sophia.
Yeah.
Let's
And
go.
Pia. There you go.
Take them home to mom.
Well, what's
I
amazing
mean,
about
while watching Rings of Power, this is refreshing, truly. Smart television.
Well, actually, do you bring up one of the tragedies about the Penguin? Because I am glad that so many people are liking it, but it is just proof that, unfortunately, the mass audiences have been so entertainment malnourished that they find this show fantastic. Because I've watched it and I'm like, yeah, this is okay, but I've seen this before. I've seen this on The Shield. I've seen it on The Wire. I've seen it on The Sopranos. I've seen it in Goodfellas. I've seen it in Scarface. Give me something that isn't afraid to explore what Batman and Detective Comics are. And unfortunately, Warner Brothers, for the last 40 years, has been terrified of giving us something that would actually explore what Batman is. Now, that having been said, performances are fantastic. I love the driver kid. He's great.
Yeah.
But it's like, this is a one shot. Like, we're not going to be seeing much more of this style of Batman throughout, even though I do know casting wise, they're definitely trying to get in the good gracious of James Gunn, because they cast as Alberto Falcone, who was killed in the first episode, the same guy who played the husband to Rachel Brosnahan in Marvelous Miss Maisel. So they're trying to be like, hey, we watch the same stuff that you do, James Gunn. Look at the cast we got in of the films that you like, James Gunn. Please keep us around, James Gunn. It's very transparent and desperate. But that being said, like, I do agree that on the crime side of, well, not much on a crime side thing, but on a dramatic side of things, this is closer to traditional HBO programming than we've seen in a long time. I personally think the best show on the air right now is Only Murders in the Building, because it's a true mystery. It's very engaging. It's funny, and it goes in directions that you cannot predict. Penguin is pretty easy to predict because he's kind of walking that edge of being a Gary Stu, because even though he's quote unquote thinking on his feet, everything is still working out for him at the end of each episode. And it feels like he knows what the writers are doing as they're happening. And I want a little bit more difficulty for Penguin here, because that's how I'm going to love him more.
You know,
That
I get
would
what
be
you're
like
saying.
one criticism I have is that, yeah, it's like, okay, everything has so far seemed to work out for him. You know, when something goes left, he adjusts, and it's like, oh, okay, it all works out to his advantage. I'm curious as to when that's not going to work to his advantage and he finds himself in some hot water.
Yeah,
That's when I think
what I
they're going to
want too,
really have to
man.
pick the story up. But yeah, everything seems to just kind of like, oh, okay, this happens. No worries. I can adjust. And it's like, that was a little too easy. I'm still, again, I'm loving the performances more than anything. The story is solid. I just hope that, you know, when we get to these twists and turns, it's not, you know, too like on the nose, like, oh yeah, they figured that out too easily. You know, it's like, where's the consequences at for some of his, you know, slip ups and his mistakes, you know? So,
Yeah,
Right.
Script, I get what you're saying, but at this point in the game, I'd take quality over, originality.
No, well, no, this is the best part, because if we start saying how much we like this, we're going to get people from the studio side saying we got to compete with this, and hopefully we'll get that competition spinning up again, so that when we do look back up, Penguin will be like, yeah, it was okay at the time, but it's nothing compared to this new show here that I have no idea what's going to happen next, and I gotta watch it. Can't wait for streaming. I can't wait. I got to book vacation time to go watch this show. That's how good of a show you want to have in the future. So please, absolutely support it.
Well,
Good.
look, the strength of
Wait, before we move on, I'll say I
Really
love
quick.
this.
Wait. What's their ship name? Is it Soph Oz? Is it Oz Soph or
We're not
Sophia?
doing this.
No,
We're
it's
not doing
am I
this, bro.
doing it right?
Campea.
We are not doing this shipping shit, man. Leave that to the Ochameers. That's them, man. We are not doing this, okay? I will log off right now. I am not doing this.
I do like how that she's presented as a character. She seems very intelligent, more intelligent than most like female characters are written. Like I said, I'm watching Rings of Power, and it's just so mind-numbingly stupid. Everyone's stupid, but the female characters, I mean, it's because they tout, oh, look how great the female characters are, when they're just written horribly. They're one-dimensional, and they just, yes, they're very just don't have a brain cell. But I like that there's some multi-layered, she's complex, she's smart. When he tried to like manipulate her into, when you see that, but she's not on board, and she can see it, she can see his scheming, and she doesn't trust him. I think that's interesting. It just makes her it makes her formidable, but it makes it's in service to your protagonist, when he's just not everything is handed to him, not everything is easy, and it just makes for a more compelling story.
Can I respond to something Script said?
Sure.
I don't think recasting John Turturro with Mark Strong is desperate by any means. I think they want him for flashbacks and either couldn't get John Turturro or just whatever reason. So now they have Mark Strong. I don't think anyone is trying to. James Gunn is already doing what he's doing with his Batman
exactly.
Brave and the Bold. Matt Reeves has already said what he wants to do with the story is Batman is the movies, and the shows are characters he can't get movies for, but need more fleshing out. And this is a bridge point. So yeah, I just had this conversation with Tom Connors of we've seen this all before, and just because it's done well now, I get that, but also even in the best of times, I think this would be a good show. The performances shine through everything. I think you all think what's happening now, but you don't, because there's still the comic stuff that they're going to throw in that will be different from the movies or TV shows you're thinking from. But yeah, I don't think it's desperate to recast an actor. Especially when I didn't really like
for that. They recast him for scheduling purposes. And
Right.
Mark Strong, great actor. However, he also is kind of a curse at Warner Brothers, because every Warner Brothers property he's been a part of has actually kind of died. Like his Shazam thing, that franchise doesn't exist anymore. He was in Green Lantern as Sinestro. That's not a thing anymore. This is a pattern. It was like Adriana Palicki. She'd been cast for a number of DC characters before for pilots that didn't get picked up until she went over to Marvel and played Mockingbird, essentially on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And the only reason that worked out is because she wasn't a principal member of the cast.
I get it. It's just you said they were desperate and they cast him because they were trying to get James Gunn attention. I don't think that's what it was.
They're casting other characters. Mark Strong was not part of that. I'm talking about things that are connected to the cast of who he's been using over at Superman right now. Because again, once Penguin is done, we're probably not going to get another one. We may or may not.
We're going to get the second Batman.
We may or may not get the second Batman. We do not know yet.
They just announced that it finished the script and is going to start filming. So
right, but it's also been delayed twice, and Warner Brothers doesn't like to delay things when they think they're going to make a lot of money. So Batman 2 might be made, and it also might be the last thing you get, because again, Warner Brothers has a mandate. They're not going to have 2 live-action Batman films competing against each other. And James Gunn has his Batman Brave and the Bold that he's got plans for. And so right now, this is a Hail Mary thing for Matt Reeves. And I'm not the biggest fan of his work, but maybe he might be able to pull something off here.
Well, it's interesting. We've got with the series, you've got Batman at the beginning of his career, and you're looking with the Gunn films will be Batman at the end of his
at least
career.
A decade in. If you've got Damian, who should be 8,
right?
It's like in the comics.
So I don't know. I'm just gonna repeat what I've said many times before. Make a Batman TV show, like this whole pussyfoot around with Pennyworth or Jim Gordon and all this other stuff. You need to do it, because that 66 show was so good for its time. That was awesome. but a regular show showing Batman being a detective would be amazing. I don't know what I know. I'm glad in this second episode, which up the ante, up the stakes. I love Victor and Penguin's dynamic. I think is really great. Seeing Penguin just be ruthless, and we are going to get into spoilers now. I think it's hard to talk about it now without getting into some spoilers. When he killed that guy in the basement, man, that was effed up. And then the whole thing with the knife, I thought was great. And by the way, he's called Penguin. Someone said the words penguin.
He's called Penguin in the movie. Like it's,
Right,
but
right.
it's a pejorative, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm saying, then they mentioned Riddler. How, I mean, at some point they're going to mention Batman. I think there'll be a Batman cameo. I just think whether it's Bruce Wayne or something, that you can't show this world without Batman at least being mentioned in some way. You can't go the whole show.
Oh yeah, I mean, even if you're bring in a reporter to talk about like what's your comments on this Batman thing that's coming against your crime boss family, like that's something that would be useful. However, to your point, I would very much love a Batman detective TV show, but unfortunately, with the way that the model of television is today, you have unfortunately a tragic risk of making that Batman show a lot like the worst parts of the Arrowverse, because it's an expensive show.
Yeah, keep
you're
it
going to
honed.
have them talking, standing in rooms talking, giving off exposition, as opposed to doing something that makes Batman great, which is the investigative aspect and also the set pieces of unique fight scenes. Those are really expensive. If you want to do a Batman series, I would say grab the BBC Sherlock model and just do some 90-minute or 70-minute specials, 3 a year, that are basically like mini film productions, because you can have a lot more fun authentically with Batman than falling into the pit of like a Supergirl or a Batwoman or an Arrow, because those models are cheap to do, they're fast to do on a TV schedule, but they actually don't serve a benefit to your audience, especially when you have this huge anticipatory market of people wanting to see Batman on the small screen again in live action.
Yeah. Matt Reeves says that when they tried to bring Batman in, he took the focus. So, which I understand. But yeah, and also he's supposed to be in a transitory phase right now, where at the end of Batman, he learned that he can't just be hardcore Batman. He's got to be Bruce Wayne. And so he's going in a transition phase, not that type. So that's why we don't see him, new suit, new image.
I mean, I don't agree. I disagree with Matt Reeves on that. I think that could have been epic.
Sorry. I was going to say another strength of the show for me is the fact that the city does feel lived in, right? Like I love Gotham City in this universe, right? I love the fact that we still see the effects of what the Riddler did, right? Every episode, there's a little something about what the Riddler did to that city, right? I love that they're not just leaving that behind. I love that, you're hearing these background conversations, right? Where they're talking about the Riddler, where they're talking about, what's been going on in Gotham. So I feel like besides the strength of the acting, which let's agree that this is what the show is. The strength of the acting is what holds up this show.
Yeah.
But there's something about the world Matt Reeves has created for me. Like it feels like it to me, and I'll probably get a lot of shit for this. It feels like the most lived in Gotham that I've seen on screen probably ever.
Yes, agreed.
Easily. Yeah.
Ever. It's the most lived in Gotham.
Oh,
Yep.
Yeah.
Dante, you might be on the wrong mic. You might not have your mic on. Just people are saying in the
you sound
chat.
quiet.
You sound quieter than
In other words, you sound normal. You sound like everyone else.
You're balanced.
This episode was so good. I mean, in addition to the first episode, I'm just all in on this.
Yeah.
I just would like to see a Batman show with this same team. And Sophia is amazing. I think the actress, what's her name again?
Christina Milioti. She was, I think her debut is on How I Met Your Mother, but she's from Broadway, if I'm not mistaken.
And she's been in 30 Rock. It's funny how the comedic actors can always, most of the time, do dramatic better than drama actors doing comedy. She's so
way more tortured,
nuanced. Yeah, that's probably why. Yeah, a lot of internal. You're not wrong.
Yeah, because I've only ever seen her in comedic roles.
Now you sound
now you sound like you're in a porta potty. Actually, there's
you sound like you're in the bathroom.
Wait, really?
Yeah. It's all good, man.
Just question check your mics.
I don't know. It bums me out that they've finally gotten the show great, and everyone. How could Colin Farrell not be nominated for an Emmy. It's just,
Oh yeah, 100%.
I mean, it's just,
Oh yeah, 100%.
I mean, it's like all of his scenes are a highlight reel of a great scene. Every scene.
And it's
with
a
him
full
is-
transformation. Like the rumor is that he's got a beaked Johnson that he's wearing underneath that costume.
What's weird is he was
Yeah,
in
they
this
did the
scene-
full bodysuit.
Yep.
That's
He was
But you
in
know
this-
what?
crazy.
when he went
To your
see
point,
this-
I had to your point about a Batman television show. Would HBO or would Warner Brothers ever commit to a full rated R version of Gotham with Batman? Because that's what we're getting right now with the Penguin. We're getting
Well-
no holds barred. They're going
Yeah.
all in. Blood, language, sex, nudity. We've seen pretty much everything that we can possibly see, and they're going all the way in with it. But I think if you had Batman on this, I don't know if you would get the same level of
they've
grit.
done a rated R Batman show called Titans, and it had a horrible blowback
Yeah.
to it. And I will say this: so, as I said earlier, Warner Brothers and even Detective Comics, they are now afraid to tell a Batman story. Because a Batman story, all they've been doing is doubling down with the darkness, with the grittiness, with the realism, etc. Batman is the ultimate character who is not affected by trauma because he overcame it. He is the Giga Chad. He's the guy who witnessed his parents' murder. He doesn't like it. He doesn't accept that has to happen. And instead of being tortured or depressed by it, he says, I'm going to change the city around me to be better.
Titans they learned the wrong lesson from that. It wasn't the violence. It was because they had old Batman played by the wrong actor, and they race swapped a bunch of characters, and they didn't follow any of the storylines. And might as well have been on the CW. Just had a higher budget.
Well, it's Akiva Goldsman as well. And the other part too
wow.
is that again, Warner Brothers keeps on looking at Batman as a character of we have to make him as real as possible, as base as possible, as violent as possible. He has to be dealing with all these really dark, disturbing, twisted, real crimes. And when you go in that direction, you lose out on a great area of Batman that's fun. Like you can't get away with a fun Killer Croc story. You can't get away with a fun Clayface story or investigation. You have to make Riddler far more serious. You can't have the level of tragedy for Mr. Freeze that you really want to. Joker, you can't have gags that are also disturbingly funny at the same time. They just have to be grotesque and on the nose. Like Batman has a sense of whimsy to him, masked in a darkness that is fun, and it also makes you want to cheer and raise your hand and be like, yes, that is awesome, Batman. It shouldn't be making you think, man, I wish there was a Batman in the real world that could just stop these crimes and problems for us, because that's breaking the verisimilitude of the fantasy of that character. And the fact that every single generation, with that little hiccup at the end with Joel Schumacher and Akiva Goldsman and Batman and Robin, has been just doubling down on making more serious, more dark, more edgy. It's like you're going in a direction that's actually breaking down and deconstructing the character that actually was very successful up until the mid 80s.
But what was it about
particularly
the
successful in
animated
film.
series?
Yeah.
What was it about the series that doesn't accomplish this?
What was it about? Sorry, you glitched out on my end.
Yeah, what was it? What is it about the animated series that didn't do it for you in terms of doing this?
No, the animated series actually borrowed heavily from the Bronze Age of Batman, and on top of that too, they actually correctly distinguished the fact that Bruce Wayne is the core character, and he plays the role of Batman, and he plays the role of the buffoon playboy. And when he talks to Alfred, he doesn't put on that Batman persona to Alfred. And when
I understand that, but it's like they've done it.
They did it in cartoons, because also when it came to Warner Brothers, they looked at it as a cartoon. And they said, "Oh, it's a cartoon. That's for kids. That's disposable. We don't need to pay attention to that."
Well, I think they knew adults were watching it.
Also, in the cartoons, Batman referred to himself as
watching
Batman, and Bruce Wayne was the character. That's even a plot point in several episodes.
Well, the thing is, it's also wrong because it shows that he's psychologically unstable, and Batman's nothing.
No, it's an embracing of a separate identity. Oh, Jesus.
Dude, you're talking about the bicameral mind, which is completely debunked like decades ago. It's not that. He's a core character. If he doesn't act the way he acts around Alfred is who he is as a core. He doesn't act like Batman around Alfred, where he's like, "Tell me what the answer is, punk." He says Alfred like he's a parent.
But he does use a lower voice octave, and he refers to himself as Batman.
That's what bad writers have been doing since Frank Miller, changed him in 1986.
So for decades.
Yes. And unfortunately, we've actually seen the fallout of that over decades. What are we seeing? Darker, more grittier Batman. We're not seeing the fun stories that actually made him successful to the point where when they did something like The Dark Knight Returns, which changed the game and actually really did well for sales because like, oh, this is a new interpretation of the character. Instead of DC editorial saying, okay, let's continue what works, they decided, no, we're going to double down on this. We're going to make him more dark, more gritty, more serious, more psychologically damaged and trauma. He's no longer going to be the aspirational hero. He's now going to be this tortured one.
We should go back to Robin with Speedos and
no, I'm
spray,
talking about Bronze Age Batman. No, Bronze Age Batman. That's when Robin already graduated to Nightwing. That's when he's doing detective stories. That's when he's falling in love with Silver St. Cloud. That's when he's fighting Rupert Thorne. That's still when he's also battling Clayface and the Joker returns because he'd been away for most of the 60s. That is the area that you kind of want.
Why can't we have nice things?
Let's get ready to run.
Why can't we just enjoy appointment
People
television?
that are in charge of them don't care about them being nice things. They care about trying to make the quickest cash that they can.
Guys,
And
let's
also by
keep it
conditioning the
civil.
audience
Don't argue. Don't argue.
And also by conditioning the audience to accept lower quality of product. I
Have
mean,
it in me.
that's the thing. I'd love it if we got some more. I'd love to see another fantastical villain. We were like, how is Batman supposed to fight that? and then see him persevere because that's great. That's fun.
Because honestly, I don't even know what the fucking argument is. We finally have good television instead of just enjoying it. You're like, yeah, it's all right, but it's only because everything
I
else
thought
is
it was
shit.
just me.
Bar
I'm
for
like,
good
I'm
has grown
lost.
so greatly.
Bruh.
I'm not looking at it. This is good for 2024. I'm like, is this good against everything else that has been great up until this point?
It's good. Yeah, you tag. You go, Elaine. Get him. Get him.
I don't even know what the argument was. I will agree with you, Script, on that. I don't think it's the best thing I've seen. I've been watching the Old Man series.
Oh yeah,
I
with
don't-
Jeff Bridges.
I think that so I don't think it's the best thing, but I think it's solid. I think it's solid show. I don't
think
know.
it's a step in the right direction. It's something that we desperately need on HBO, especially on HBO, because heck, the last 2 seasons of Game of Thrones on HBO really hurt HBO's reputation. It really did.
I know, and HBO has Doom Prophecy, so I'm also like,
And what's going on with
curious.
that too, right?
I don't even know
I-
at this point.
Yeah, and they
I,
screwed
for
up Sex
one,
in the City.
excited about
We're
Doom.
doing multiple timelines, past, present, future. Apparently, is their approach. So that sounds complicated, but the Penguin has actually given me some hope. There seems, at least it's competently written, and I think it's entertaining. I like the Batman, so I think the Batman fans will like it. And it's solid. It's entertaining. There's intelligence behind these characters. There's tension. There's drama. And I hope it's a sign that means more of that will be on the way, as opposed to, I mean, keep innovating, keep creating an entertaining story. And there's other ones that are good shows that are out there too. Tulsa King, I like that as well. So
I failed to fight. Now I'm on the bottom. All right, fine, let's go back.
I don't know what I was fighting for, but
We go back to reading super chats.
Yeah.
They feel real. These characters feel real. The Penguin's relationship with his mother, which she lied to Sophia about, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
She lied about
interesting.
her
I like
being-
the mother.
Which
Oh,
you
wow,
understand
I
now, right? Like, why wouldn't he just put her in? Oh, he can't. He doesn't want anyone to know because he's trying
Yeah.
to protect. Yeah.
It's his one weakness. It's how you get him is her, which I think she dies by the end of this season.
I'm
I
There
think
you go.
enjoying it more than the Gotham show. Is that what it was called?
Oh
Gotham.
yeah,
Yes.
Gotham was
thing?
awesome.
I'm
Yeah.
enjoying it more, especially the Penguin and
Oh no, yeah.
the relationship with his mother.
Yeah,
So there's
Goth-
a step up there, at least.
No,
Gotham
Gotham
was
is
garbage.
terrible. However,
That's
I
the fans of
suspect,
those who have been complaining that we like this, the Gotham fans. Sorry, Script.
no, it's okay. I suspect that Oz will end up having to kill his mother in order to save and basically go to that point of no return in order to
The
be-
mom or Victor, like something to prove
No,
he is
his
the ultimate.
mother or,
Right,
bad guy.
right.
or Vic. Yeah,
Yeah,
one of those two.
That's gonna kill me. But that good. It's good. It's
It's
good.
good.
I think Victor's arc is just getting started because he is still
Yeah.
kind of a noob. He's learning like how far Penguin will go. When he made him, like cuddle up next to those dead bodies, he thought he was next. I mean, that was some dark, but I feel like his lesson is learned. I
He's
think
got
he wrote-
family out there calling him on the phone, Gabriella or something like good mom or girlfriend.
I think he'll have a
his
turn,
dad.
and I think he'll become darker. I think now he's kind of
Zaz, the serial killer, is one theory. Zaz, the guy that
Victor
has
Fist,
the
yeah,
Victor.
obsessed with the scars. Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah,
he's
so-
a new addition of late '90s.
Yeah, decent. If you're gonna
Oh, yeah.
add, yeah.
So I mean, so this has now become appointment TV on Sunday night. I think it's that good. If this wasn't a Batman show, I think that's the key. If this had nothing to do with Batman, would we like this show?
I don't need
say
Batman to
yes
show
as
up.
as a crime
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
But did you see in the scene that Penguin was with his mother, there was that like guy who was helping out? They actually either they cast a fat guy or that was Brad Pitt in makeup. That's what I think. Like,
By the way, it shows why he's able to speak Spanish in the Batman, why he knows the difference between
Right.
La and L is because he knows just enough to talk to the landlord of his mother's apartment.
right. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
think
just there's so much little detail. Sorry, Elaine. To interrupt you.
no, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that I have no interest to watch Agatha, but I was at least had that interest in watching this spin-off show, and it was the Batman was really good. So first of all, you have that this is your formula for success. First of all, you have a very popular superhero movie, a commercial and critical success, and you had a character in it that people really responded to. They really liked Colin Farrell's Penguin, so that made sense that he was the avenue for them to explore the underbelly of Gotham, that seedy thing. And I think that was a cool way to explore the world that Batman is, coming into. And so I just thought that was cool, and it always held my interest to see it fleshed out. And it's just completely utter opposite what the approach for the MCU right now as far as their spin-offs. Spinning it off of a spin-off show from the past MCU that was done with the Infinity Saga, and a character that from a song that trended for like a few hours. I don't know. It's just the approach there is one successful and one is just not what people wanted.
Well, I think it's the quipification of Marvel. So since Guardians of the Galaxy, we had
Isms.
Thor, everything. It's like now everything has to be quippy, funny, and not important. It doesn't feel like the events don't feel like they have weight because everything is a joke. This
a joke
is
after every
Marvel
serious moment, and that happened.
That's the
Well,
thing.
everything Marvel does feels like it's product. It's packaged like something you're supposed to buy. It doesn't feel like an actual story that has some, somebody behind it really caring about these characters and caring about the world that they are putting in whatever they're putting the characters through. It just feels like I'm just supposed to buy it because it's Marvel. I'm supposed to watch it because it's Marvel. I'm not supposed to actually enjoy the story. Everything just feels like you said, it's quippy, it's funny, it's good for, laughs. You can put it in the trailer. You can do this, and this, like that with the Marvels, the Black Girl Magic, throwing that in there. Like, why is that line in this? It's because it fits for a trailer. It's something funny that you can put out there, and it might get some buzz. It might get some people talking about it. That's what Marvel feels like right now. It doesn't feel like actual storytelling. It feels like product, something just to buy and to consume. And that's the
I agree. I think the last genuine thing, not counting Wolverine and Deadpool, the last genuine thing the MCU has done for me was Werewolf by Night. I think Werewolf by Night was the last genuine story that the MCU told.
I think it's because the MCU has actually supplanted what the comedy audience or comedy filmmaking would be in Hollywood. Like, there's no general comedies anymore. If you want to go for a laugh, you go to an MCU film these days, right? And even then, they're kind of cringy. So where are the other comedies?
Aren't people laughing at that now? Isn't it like audiences laugh about the comedy in Marvel? It's just kind of seen as a trope, and it's never a good thing.
Yeah, it's not funny. There's nothing funny going on in Marvel. And, Guardians of the Galaxy was different because at that time, Marvel was like ultra serious. You might have like a couple of jokes, but for the most part, like that first phase of Marvel, that was all serious stuff. So by the time we got to Guardians of the Galaxy and it's in space and you got these wacky characters, and it's like, oh yeah, this works. This works. Absolutely. But I think most of the comic book universe needs to be more, serious than funny. And so by Marvel going in this direction, I think they've just kind of, I don't know, none of this feels interesting, like what they're doing with Agatha. Like, I don't even understand why they're going in this direction. I would have preferred something more hardcore horror, like something closer to what they did with Werewolf by Night than what they're giving us right here, which just seems like low budget, Disney Channel crap. It's like, I don't care about this, I don't get it. Yeah, Marvel's just kind of off the rails right now. I
Now
don't know
the
if they're ever
Vision
going to get back.
series, the Vision series I'm actually have some interest in
'Cause
purely
Terry
because
Matalas.
I like the character.
Yeah.
Yes, and Terry Matalas, and he's proven
Yeah.
himself and how he can handle legacy beloved IPs like this. So yeah, it's a character that everyone knows, is very familiar with, and likes. So that makes sense. So
But here's the question:
Agatha doesn't make sense to me.
will they let Terry Matalas be Terry Matalas?
Disney? Whew, that's a good question, man.
Right?
I'm
I
told.
mean, but that's why they brought him over, right? Because apparently Kevin Feige was a big fan of Star Trek Picard season 3, and that's why he came.
None of that matters though, right? Because I mean, they brought Sam Raimi over, and they didn't let Sam Raimi be Sam Raimi.
Well,
Right.
Terry
You're gonna
Matalas
say you
can
were
work
told?
under
'Cause I was told.
Kurtzman-Trek.
Yeah,
He worked
I
under
feel like-
Kurtzman-Trek just fine, so I don't know.
Well,
I don't
they
think
were
they
also
really
not
need
paying
to.
attention to him. That's why. Like,
Well, I feel like he can politic his way and be diplomatic to get what he wants, which
I
is
was
I-
told
so-
something similar, that he was brought on very specifically because for reasons like that he
Yes.
knows what he's doing.
they are going to let him do his show. It will have almost no connection to Agatha at all.
Forgive my skepticism, but look, we're talking about Disney here, so
Okay, you're right.
Until I
That's
see
true.
the product itself, I no.
I mean, when I say I have interest, it's a very mild interest, but yeah, solely because of Terry Matalas' connection, and that's my hope and confidence. But
But Script, don't you
yeah.
think he'd have enough clout? Like if Sean Levy was somehow able to get through and get his version of Deadpool and Wolverine, don't you think if Terry really had a vision for Vision, that he'd be able to execute it without influence?
well, if he has someone like if Kevin Feige's in his
Yeah.
corner, absolutely. Like the thing is, the reason that Sean Levy was able to do Deadpool and Wolverine is because Bob Chapek is the guy that actually greenlit it and said, "Don't touch these guys and let them do their thing." By the time they had already gotten well underway in production and Chapek was out, there's nothing Iger could do to cancel it without having to explain, well, why did we spend all that money up until this point? So he had to let that go. Marvel, again, like Chris and Alan I've heard a bunch of activist writers were expunged from the company. You have Terry Matalas came in. He's got the same type of motive that Matt Nix has had, because if you take a look at the last couple of shows he did, he does the bait and switch. He sets up what looks like at first a woke show, and then he switches it to something very based. Like in Turner and Hooch, he set up, the partner's a 7-month pregnant Black woman, and she's out in the field. And then the next episode, they compromise her to the point where it's like, yeah, we're going to bring in logic. We're not letting this pregnant woman go back out in the field as a U.S. Marshal anymore. We're bringing in this based Hawaiian partner to be the new partner. And these two guys are going to be going on missions. And Disney got very upset by that and thus canceled the show. But Matalas might be able to pull that off. And if Feige stands in his corner, and if Joe Esposito also stands in his corner and says, hey, let them do their thing, and Bob Iger's like, okay, fine, I've got hands off Marvel, hopefully we'll have a really good show. Because I'd like to see what Terry does with the White Vision and how that progresses.
Yeah.
They're not calling it that, are they?
So we don't see color.
Well, I mean,
but,
in the comics,
yeah.
he was White Vision.
Or is it
He's
Vision
literally
Quest? I've been
At
hearing
the end
Vision
of
Quest.
WandaVision that no one watched, White Vision, who was an android, merged with the memories of Wanda made manifest by the powers of the Darkhold, whatever. And so basically, Vision is back in this new android body. And I'm assuming that is where we would take off from. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, so circling back to the Penguin, I really hope this is the resurgence for DC. We got such bad DC fare going back to, the DCEU. That last year of 2023, just 4 movies that were just mostly horrible, horrible.
Horrible.
But now we got, the Joker coming up tonight. We got Penguin right now, Joker, like Creature Commandos. I'm hoping that James Gunn nails it with that. I have a lot of faith. I'm feeling a lot more confident about James Gunn than I was about a year ago when he, canned Henry Cavill. Now I'm hoping and praying, crossing my feet. Yes, Superman, that was another great movie. So I'm really hoping that this is a resurgence for DC, because these characters and these storylines have just been sitting on the shelf collecting dust. And, I feel like Marvel, now that Marvel's kind of dropping the ball, this is DC's opportunity. So I really hope they nail it, because Superman especially, but all of these characters really need, their time in the sun.
Yep.
And I hope this is it, because, we've been sitting on DC for so long, and people have just been sleeping on these characters. They're some of the best characters, in my opinion, in comic books. So, fingers crossed, that, we're starting to get some quality in DC now.
I agree. They really started out by just kind of vomiting out movies, just in response, I guess, to the MCU when it was successful at the time, and they just
Yeah.
plowed ahead without really thinking about it or planning for it. And I think they just went too much too fast. I don't know, just to pump stuff out. But now it seems they are much more measured and discerning and really planning for the future. So that actually gives me hope that it seems
You
that they're
say
taking the
that.
time.
But then Batman's going to be in his 10th year, and there's already a Lantern show, and Superman has 9 other. I'm just saying, it's
Oh, no,
funny.
you-
Like
yeah,
they're
Badger's right.
really sort of jumping, but
Yeah.
it might be specific. It might be really specific, is what he says it is. So,
Well,
grain of salt,
I
sure.
suspect it's still going to be like what Peacemaker was, is a commentary on the foolish approach to the DC films that were done under Walter Hamada and Kevin Tsujihara, because that's what it was. It's like, oh, you want gritty, edgy, you want nudity, you want hard rated R. Here's Peacemaker. That gives you all those things, and it's funny, and it's kind of mocking the Snyderism approach. The other part too is that Superman's entering a world, as James Gunn and Peter Safran said, where kindness is not thought of as often as an American trait anymore.
Yeah,
And
superheroes
Superman's
can
supposed to bring
kill.
that back.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, I like that because it's a little bit of the inversion of Kingdom Come, where they say, oh yeah, you're too much of a Boy Scout back in the 50s and 60s. Here it's the turn of the
Yeah.
century. We gotta be,
Yeah.
badass, and we gotta kill our villains, and we don't have to help them or anything like
Thus,
that.
the Authority being the main team at first. That
Yep.
yeah,
Exactly.
I see it. It's I can see it. Just man, will they execute it? Because it's
The
going to take.
execution is everything. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
exactly.
If
It's
he
gonna take
executes this,
perfect
man, he's
accuracy.
gonna
Yeah.
kill it, man. He's gonna kill this thing.
Yep. It's I'm hoping the best, man, because I'd love to see him knock that out of the park.
I'm right there with you, but man,
Man,
let's see
I'm
who
so
we cast.
I'm so
let's
pumped
see who
right
we
now,
cast as
man. I'm
Batman.
really hoping this thing
Yeah.
is it, man.
I mean, but Reeves stuff is not connected to that.
No,
Right,
that's
so
what I'm saying. We have to get a much older Batman.
James Gunn has to prove himself to me, but I am interested. But I do have confidence in the Reeve verse. I don't even know what we call this particular part of the DC.
The
It's
reverse.
What was it called? It was called something.
Elseworlds, yeah.
Elseworld, yeah.
Elseworlds, yeah. Okay,
Elseworld,
so at least
yeah.
for that, I'm interested in, and we'll see how the James Gunn works out. But I'm interested enough and optimistic enough to check it out. So that's a better place already for them.
Timeline is healing. Oh,
Yes.
a little bit.
I'm sure it helps that the MCU right now is just no one has any interest, I guess, largely because it just seems it's just content.
We all know we have to
schlock.
get through everything that was greenlit before they realized
Yeah.
any mistakes, and won't even see anything until
I-
Fantastic
did you guys
Four,
notice
really.
like nobody watched? No one has. I saw the Thunderbolts trailer, and I'm not sure. If memory serves me correctly, like Marvel trailers used to do big numbers right off the bat, like getting into the 100 million range when it's been out like a week. And
Apathy,
this,
bro.
I mean, this trailer has only gotten 14 million views. From the Marvel trailer. I'm like, this is such apathy. Like,
Well, I think they watched it
nobody
before. Didn't it
cared.
leak? I think it leaked.
a different version, but yeah, because no one cares
Oh.
about these characters aside from Bucky, and Bucky's barely going to be in the damn thing.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Does anyone remember from Ant-Man and the Wasp that one
Ghost,
chick?
or-
Yeah,
Ghost?
Ghost.
Yeah,
Oh,
no
She
one
looks
from-
different too. She doesn't even look the same.
Taskmaster
Broken
looks more
bunk
female. 'cause it's
Taskmaster.
Olga.
I mean,
Yeah.
everything about this show, this movie just screams, I don't want to watch it. I don't even, and I like Florence Pugh as an actress, but I don't really care about Yelena. I don't care about, what's her name? Red Guardian. I don't care about any of this stuff. And that's the next, well, that's not the next movie. That's one of the big movies that Marvel is dropping in May. In May. That's a big time frame for, like, Marvel should be making money in May. That's what we are used to when it comes to the MCU. They are not going to make any money off of that movie. That movie is going to be a giant flop.
Well, the
And
problem,
I mean, nobody cares, man. It's so crazy to watch this happening to Marvel in real time. It's just unbelievable.
the problem is there's going to be a long drought before Marvel has their next win.
Mhm.
Right? They had Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
That was their last win. Their next win is going to be years from now.
Yeah.
Maybe
Years from now.
maybe Fantastic Four. We'll see how Pedro does.
Again,
I know.
and that's a big maybe.
Maybe.
And by the
yeah.
way, Pedro was in The Wild Robot.
Oh,
I-
wow.
he
Can't
was the
escape
voice
him.
of the Fox. I like, is he in everything? And then I saw a teaser trailer for Last of Us season 2 before the Penguin, which didn't look bad.
Can't wait to
Didn't
see
look
what
bad
people
to me,
react
but-
to with that.
And the
Yeah, but-
Gladiator 2 and
Yeah, I just
He's like the Will Ferrell of like 20 of the 20-aughts. He's just in
Yeah.
everything.
Jack Black of video game movies.
It's him and Aquafina, basically.
Yeah.
oh,
no.
the new Minecraft trailer looks so
Yeah.
Oh,
Speaking of
God.
Jack Black, he just plays himself.
Yeah,
That's the
I-
one that got people to be
everything.
like, stop putting him in things. Like it started with Baby Yoda and Lizzo. It just kept getting worse.
I remember when Jack Black was rumored to be in the original Green Lantern film. As
Ooh, I
Jack
remember
Black.
that. That was awful.
As the
That-
best friend.
No, he was going to get the ring instead of Hal Jordan.
Oh my God.
And
Yeah,
I
he
think
was
the
going to
first
be.
thing
He was
concocted
going to be
was,
Guy Gardner.
Yeah, like the first thing he concocted was
wow.
a construct that looked like Britney Spears in her 19-year-old age.
Oh, it sounds like a scary movie spoof. I almost want to
Yeah.
see it.
Oh, gosh.
Anyway, the Penguin is good.
Yeah.
Penguin is
Yeah,
good.
2 thumbs
Penguin's
up for
good.
Penguin,
And-
man. Loving it.
and
Water
cilantro
cooler
is
television.
not soap.
Yes, if it's a gene, unfortunately, if you have that, I'm sorry. Sorry, you can't
Is it?
enjoy the glory. Yeah, some people
Yeah.
just don't have the gene to, or it's an extra gene. It makes it taste like soap.
Like what
Sucks.
kind? Okay. I don't
love
think you did
cilantro.
it right. You plucked it off like a bunch of cilantro and threw it on a taco. You can't.
It
just
also
do
looked
that.
like
You gotta-
American taco, like Taco Bell white people tacos, not actual Mexican food. So I don't think they
Yeah.
would have put cilantro on there anyway.
Gotham's supposed to be in the Northeast area, so as far
Yeah,
as
but-
Mexico you can
Like New
get.
Jersey, what do they know?
All right, we will get to super chats at the end of the show. We are, flashing on screen other people's comments, which is cool. Someone under the Film Thread account is kind of been expressing opinions. That can be done under a personal account if that is your personal opinion, Alan. Just so you know,
Yeah.
I'm seeing you. I'm just
I'm just
calling
saying,
you out.
Sex in the City is a great series.
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was Sunday night
Film Thread
appointment
doesn't think
television.
that. Alan thinks it.
Yo,
You are definitely a Samantha, Alan.
No,
I am-
Alan, you can't do that,
We're
Alan.
gonna versus.
Hey, don't put me up
You
here. I
know.
don't-
Sure.
yeah. First of all, I mean, look, Sunday night it was Sex in the City. Now it's the Penguin, and
Alan's taller. My
HBO
money is on Alan.
HBO
All right,
knows
fine.
how to do it.
Fine.
You know what, Alan? I agree with you. Sex in the City was a good show.
It was
I like Samantha. I thought
It
she
was a
was
good
hot.
show.
I'm sorry.
Did you
Oh,
like
Kim
the
Cattrall?
revival?
Yeah.
All right.
yeah.
Before we will
everything
get to
after the
super chats
series. was
at- wait. We'll get to your super chats at the end. Before we get to the box office, Alan, if you would look that up. I have some, and we're going to talk about Megalopolis. I have some breaking news. Breaking news. And I don't, here it is. We said we were not going to talk about the Acolyte, but the Acolite, Lite, season 2 has found a director. We announced a while back that Film Threat would produce and give the fans what they want. Everyone gets ship-faced in Acolyte season 2, but we found a director. We're using action figures to bring to life season 2 of the Acolyte. I've ordered the figures.
Oh,
Alan
no.
Ing will be playing Master Soul. Here he is.
How'd
Right
you get
there.
those?
Oh, they're on Amazon.
I ordered these on the Hasbro Pulse
Hasbro
website.
site. Yeah.
I've got all the figures, but I'll show you a tease. I found the director who will be doing the stop motion animation. So I'm going to share. It's a 1-minute little teaser for something that's kind of cute, but I was so impressed. I thought we're going to get this guy to animate the whole series. Before the end of the year, we will have a teaser trailer, and we have a concept poster for the Acolyte season 2 that I think you'll love. But let's take a look at this. It's only 1 minute, but this will give you an idea of the quality of stop motion that will be used in the show.
Hashtag Yord Horde. Ooh. How does this only have 9 likes?
I mean, way better cinematography already.
That's really good, actually. I thought it was going to be like a joke.
Very good.
It's really
It's our very own Glenn Uccio, the producer of the show. He did a little test of what he could do. So Acolyte season 2 will come with that level of animation.
That's really good.
That's
we
awesome.
have just Glenn is getting started. He's getting all the figures, and I'm very excited. I wanted to share that because people ask every week about the Acolyte. That's our Acolyte season 2 news. I'm really excited, and we're gonna do on Film Threat Plus, which will be for members. We're going to be doing an Acolyte season 2 after show, where if you're a member of the Film Threat channel, you get to see episodes first, and you get to see the after. Alan, why are you laughing?
The after show. Yeah. The ratings will
Embrace
just
it.
yes.
Embrace the grift.
You know.
Come on, Alan.
Honestly,
Anyways,
that
look,
animation,
I
I
love
watched
it.
a normal show in that, like that type. That looked decent.
it's
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah,
be
it
a
looked
lot
great.
of fun. I want to give the fans, and everything the fans want, they will get. R2D2 will be gay, a lesbian.
course. Yeah.
You will meet R2D2's moms, R2D0 and R2D1.
Yes, the
Our-
Acolyte
our
season
two-
2 will be the gayest Star Wars.
It will be the gayest Star Wars.
Will
It
C3PO
will
have
be.
straight parents that just don't accept him for being gay?
Right. Whatever.
That's
It's
Obi-Wan.
Everything the fans want, they're gonna get it. They're gonna get a twin threesome with May and Osha and
Yeah.
Keemer. Like everything
Anakin
you
made
want,
C3PO, and he's a known bigot and
it's
fascist because he's
all
turned to Darth Vader.
happening in this show. You're gonna get everything that your heart desires. So that's the news on that. All right, let's talk about Megalopolis. Alan, if you would bring up the box office for this weekend. I don't think we're the only channel or headline. Megalopolis is a mega flopolis. Over $100 million, and this movie made, it was number 6. It just barely in 1,800 theaters made $4 million, which is less than the movie Am I Racist made its opening weekend. Less. That made $5 million. So here, Wild Robot, top of the box office, 35 million. Beetlejuice hanging in there with 16. Transformers 1, in spite of it being, I think, a decent film, only made 9.1 million. Davara Part 1, which I saw, made 5.6 million. Speak No Evil hanging in there. Megalopolis at 4 million. Did you guys see?
Hey, let me put out one more, but
Please.
scroll down. Saturday night, $270,000 in 5 theaters, making it $54,000 per theater.
Was that
Well,
the
it's-
Saturday Night Live biopic thing?
Yeah.
That is that. Yes,
Yeah, it's
Wow.
expanding. Is it this weekend or next?
I believe it's next weekend. It's expanding.
Yeah, it's October 10th or 11th, I think.
Yeah. So
But pretty impressive for 5 theaters.
And Deadpool
Yeah.
and Wolverine still going.
Deadpool and Wolverine still making money, although they did announce the VOD date. So there you go. If you're looking for VOD, all right.
22nd.
so-
I think.
There is no way this movie makes its money back. Lionsgate, as the distributor, they're doing what they call a service deal, right? A service deal is they will put the movie out for you in theaters for a fee. So they're not even really doing much with that. Who of all did everyone see Megalopolis in the theater this weekend? Everyone? Not
I
everybody.
did not.
Okay.
I tried. I wish I could.
I heard my
Okay.
co-host rant for over an hour, and it almost killed him. So I don't understand what you saw. If you did see it, it must be horrible.
It's turned into so much commentary online about what was he trying to say.
Make Rome great again.
Someone even compared it to a Neil Breen movie. Are you familiar with Neil Breen films?
Oh, Dude, you've got to see some Neil Breen movies.
They are like, it's not like, here's the thing. He earnestly is trying to make a great movie, which makes it so bad. Like Tommy Wiseau and The Room. Like he's being very earnest about everything he's saying. And people are comparing it to Neil Breen. Okay, for those of us who did see it, what are your thoughts? Are we surprised by this flop? Or just comment on the box office, right?
I mean, I read the script 2.5 years ago, and from what I gather from what the commentary, he didn't do much rewrites to the final end. Because when I read the script, it seemed like it was supposed to be a deep message from Coppola saying that if we care about society, we should be constantly trying to make it better, not tearing ourselves apart.
Right.
It was that's what I guess is held true with this final version. And to Coppola's credit, at least he put up his own money for this because no one was going to give it to him. And unfortunately, Hollywood was kind of right to say why we're not going to give you this money to make this movie, because the box office is now reflective of that.
Do you think he cares though?
That part. Like,
no, but I based on the commentary I've heard from you guys here on social media, from friends that managed to see it, especially during the single showing at TIFF. As I was telling Chris before the show, this is Francis Ford Coppola's like THX 1138. Like that movie that George Lucas made, not a whole lot of people liked or got. It actually kind of pissed off Coppola at the time. And now it seems we have the inverse 50 odd years later.
Remember the trailers he got in trouble for, where he had AI quotes from actual critics, like
that was Lionsgate.
But either way, but the point was to that's what he thinks this will be viewed as. Like, even if it's hot take now, he thinks eventually people will see it as a masterpiece.
Some things could be ahead of their time. I don't know if Megalopolis is or not. Its narrative, my understanding of as narrative, is really kind of jarring for a lot of people. And I've heard that there's an audience interaction point.
Yes.
Okay.
Was that your screening or all screening? Because my co-host said that that did not happen for him.
It was at our screening. It did happen. And I saw the 30-minute like Q&A with Coppola. I don't know why De Niro and Spike Lee were there, but they were there.
Wow.
I was excited after the Q&A. The Q&A, he better conveyed what he was trying to do at the Q&A than he did with the film. The film brings up some very good ideas. They are interesting to explore, but the way it's expressed, I think, is a mega failure. And you can just apply mega to pretty much anything with this movie.
Would this be the type of movie that if you saw it on streaming and could pause and actually like completely digest what is the composition of the shot and what you just watched, would that work better for it?
You mean could you be on your phone while you watch this movie?
No, I mean, like, if you wanted to really engage, but there's so much coming at you that you have to pause to process it before you move on to the next part, would that make this a better experience? I'm wondering.
I just think it's so it reminds me of amateur like student like films where they're trying to do something profound but just saying it out loud instead of finding a clever way in a story to do it. So
yeah, I can definitely see that.
Yeah, it's just so on the nose, so obvious. Like that's why the comparisons to Neil Breen, I didn't even think of that when I was watching it, but it was like, oh my God, that makes sense. Alan, I see you doing a lot on your.
Yeah, I'm looking at if you want to see it, it's labeled Megalopolis: The Ultimate Experience, and that's where you'll get the live performance.
Chris, how is Adam Driver? Is he, because Adam Driver, he's apparently a great actor, but everything I see him and he's just not the best in, and I'm not understanding what it is.
Not wrong, man. You could be a great actor in bad movies.
It is pretentious as AF, Andrew Wordna. It's so pretentious. And although I saw this picture of Adam Driver next to Keanu Reeves, and the caption, the meme was, Adam Driver looks like someone trying to draw Keanu Reeves from memory. And I was like, oh my God, that makes sense. All right. So on social media, we're seeing, this is a good example right here. This is how Megalopolis is edited. Right? It's just,
what is the movie even about? I don't know.
Does he have time travel powers or something like that? Time powers?
He can control time because art art it can control time. But the basic idea of the movie is that the fall of the Roman Empire has happened every millennium, and it is happening now. And that's kind of the premise of the movie.
I feel like the marketing surrounding it just made it sound like it was a very self-indulgent fever dream, and I just don't think potential audiences were,
Fever
and,
dream.
and what they were seeing
Good one.
wasn't really, I don't know, connecting with them. I don't know.
Well,
Nothing I've seen like
that's a
maybe
Citizen Kane shot
interested.
right there.
It's resulted in a lot of memes. What is this going on?
You want to help me to go back to the You want to help me
From the trailers, it seemed like a movie you could take substances and enjoy.
to go back to the
I don't
I
know.
feel like I'm
Someone
on
needs to
acid
make
now.
a parody of this. This seems to.
That's going to be in the dance clubs this Friday. I'm telling you.
Did you ever see Spoils of Babylon? That comedy series with Will Ferrell?
I have
No.
not. I have not seen.
Oh man, it's hilarious. But I get that vibe that they're trying to do a series. It's so funny, man. You have to see it. But they're
Here-
trying to do something serious, and it looks like that's what I get the same vibe. Something serious, but
Here's
it
a
comes off as
video
parody.
of that moment when the ultimate experience when someone comes out. So let me.
Catalina, you said that.
Here we go. We'll watch this.
Catalina, you said that as we jump into the future, we should do so unafraid. But what if when we do jump into the future, there is something to be afraid of?
Well, there's nothing to be afraid of if you love or have loved. It's an unstoppable force. It's unbreakable. It has no limits.
Can't wait to see that.
Wait, hold up.
camera focus on?
What happened there?
Wait.
So somebody in the audience came out and talked to the screen?
Someone in the audience comes out and talks like in front of the screen, and the screen goes like small, and there's a little light on this person, and that's it. They didn't miss much.
What the hell is
But-
that?
It's not the movie. Is it part of the movie?
It's
Part of
not
the ultimate
to the
experience,
movie.
I gather.
Yeah, it seems like it's a fan experience
just
based
take
on
it
where
out
you see
For
it.
normal.
Yeah,
You know,
I'm not
shadow
too many-
casting. Yeah, they've incorporated shadow casting into this new movie.
Yeah. If you're in
What was
Podunk,
this dude
Indiana, I
doing,
don't think
man?
that's
This
going to
guy
happen.
was on something when he made this thing. That's wild, right
Well,
there.
that's what I was
man.
hoping
I've
for,
never
Deanna.
heard
I
of
thought you could take some
anything like
shrooms or a little, make the,
Yeah,
put on a
man.
certain record. But no, it seems like this is just trash.
But that's only at the fan experience. So if I just go and see a normal, whatever, that's not
Yeah.
going to be a part.
That's not there yet.
Yeah, you're just gonna see the movie.
All right.
That scene
That's
is not
fair.
even there.
Yeah, all right. Okay. I say, look, I got A-list, and I feel like I did myself a favor by not watching that trash.
I think part of the
Sheesh.
thing is he's been thinking about this since the 80s. Had he made it in the 80s, maybe we'd be talking about it now, or it was ahead of its time. But
Yeah, it definitely feels like something that's out of time. Like this isn't really made for audiences in 2024. Like you probably would have had to make that back, when, film was actually looked at. I mean, it's still looked upon as art, but you really, it feels like it's something very artsy, with a message, and, that's cool. I think we need more of that, but I don't think this was it. I don't think, again, I didn't watch it, so I can't really say if it was good, bad, or whatever. But the idea of putting something out like that in 2024 just seems like it's not in its own time. you
Right.
know? So yeah, it's unfortunate. Maybe, I like the fact that he put his own money behind it, and maybe he was trying to tell us something and he had a message or a point that he wanted to make. I appreciate that from artists. I feel like we need more of that from filmmakers, but I don't know, man. That just that just seems way out there for this day and age.
All right. Well, final thoughts on Megalopolis. What's really sad is, that it's not getting, I don't know that there'll be Oscar buzz about it. Like it's almost like, and I think part of the problem is, I mean, I do encourage you to see it. It's certainly important, just because it's been from a filmmaker once revered, and then also the story behind the movie is better than the movie. But it's also so many moments where the audience, and I saw it with a 100% full sold out IMAX screening. People were in the front row to the sides. They had people were seated. They laughed, burst out laughing at what should have been dramatic moments. They just
Shia LaBeouf, perhaps in robes, dress, makeup.
Just it's, I don't know. Alan saw it in a theater with like 10 other people. My screening was full and people were laughing. I mean, characters who get killed, like, just it's goofy, literally goofy. So
I
don't
respect,
know.
I respect the fact that he took a big swing. I mean, it's the end of his
Yeah.
career. He took a big swing. He missed. It sounds pretty big.
Right.
He missed in a major way. But you know
Swing
what
and a
though?
miss.
You know what though? In a time where there's no originality, he tried to do something original. It didn't land.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
It
Kevin
didn't land.
Costner,
So
too. Wasted money on all his movies, you know. Like,
and I get it. But here's the thing: Coppola has always taken big swings.
Yeah.
If you think about it, it's just that the ones he took before actually worked.
Yeah.
Now,
I'm starting to think that he doesn't care that this is the movie
Right.
he wanted to make,
Yeah.
and for Coppola, it's like taking your child and putting them in your movie and then watching them fail spectacularly
And have
in
sex
that
with a
role.
character that's their cousin.
Yes, exactly.
Well,
He
the
doesn't
other-
care, and I think
What?
that's what I'm saying is I don't think the box office matters to him. I think just making the movie, spending the money, he got it out, and he could care less what we all think about it.
so here's my question then, because I know a lot of his movies weren't appreciated during their time. So is Megalopolis going to be respected 20 years from now? Like, are we going to look back and say, "Oh, that was genius"?
Maybe. I mean, you never know what kind of culture we're going to have 20 years from now, 30 years from now. You never know how the world is going to move, and people might look back and say, "Wow, that was revolutionary." What an amazing mind. Yeah, you
one
never
thing
know
about
where
the
things are
movie-
going to go. Like, what was that? Shawshank Redemption. Even though I loved it when it came out in theaters, I mean, it flopped in theaters.
Yeah.
It
There's a
didn't
bunch
catch
of
on
movies like
until it
that.
got.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you never know what's going to happen. How films will hit people. 20 years down the line. That's why I said it feels like what I'm hearing is that this film is just out of its own time. It was just it was made, but it wasn't really made for a certain time. So whether that's 40 years ago or 40 years into the future, who knows? Maybe it'll hit.
Well,
that could absolutely happen.
This is also, I think, Coppola's first experience where he's made a movie where he hasn't had to compromise his idea to satisfy other investors. And one thing that actually hurts creativity is no obstacles. And if he didn't have any obstacles here, this is pure Coppola without any obstacles to overcome. You kind of have
This is
to
what you
go
get.
back and appreciate that. Yeah, you know what? The more you exercise your creativity is getting around those obstacles, not just destroying them or not having them to begin with in the first place. And maybe that's why Megalopolis is being received the way it is now.
It's a balance, right? You need a strong personality, but then an equally strong. Otherwise, you get the sequels, but they had no strong personality guiding it, but they had all the freedom in the world to fuck it up.
But that is if box office is your goal, then yes, I'm saying that. I don't think.
Yeah, this is his legacy, right,
goal.
Alan? He just wants this out into the world and then bye.
I mean, think of it like Van Gogh or Warhol or something. They're not concerned about how much it's going to sell. It's their art, and they put it on the canvas, and then you release it out into the world, and it is what it is.
And for that reason alone, I say, bravo to Francis Ford Coppola for doing that. I actually like that. Hey, this is the art that I want to make. Just like you said, just like a painter or anybody else. I'm putting a piece of art out there and let the public decide what it is. If it's good, if it's garbage, let them decide that. So I actually respect that, because I think we need more people just, being risk takers. But when it comes to, somebody trying to make some money, yeah, you're going to have to appeal to a wide audience in the film game. You're not just going to be able to make something for, a niche audience and, everybody else is going to be like, what the hell was this?
Yeah, I think we
Script.
should realize that Lionsgate is not losing money in this. That Lionsgate was
They're
more or
not.
less the employee of Coppola to get the movie.
Yeah, this
out.
is all on him. This is all his money, and then he paid to. I get you're saying he paid Lionsgate to distribute it.
Yeah,
Well,
that's what it seems
kind of. They have like some sort of deal. It's akin to like next tier four walling, is my understanding. Like Lionsgate gets a cut of whatever theater agrees to host them, and whatever's left over goes to Coppola, which clearly is not going to be a lot.
It's called a service deal.
Service deal, yeah.
Service deal. You can hire, and it's at the distributor's a discretion to put it out. But script, did you notice, like when you read the script, did you think, wow, if this gets made, it'll be brilliant? Or were you just WTF on the script?
I was pretty WTF on the script, actually.
That's what I thought.
Because I mean, there's this one point towards the end where I remember vividly. It's like, all my life I thought of Megalopolis, and I used to quote it to my girlfriend as a joke. Is that still in the movie?
Yeah, you know what? Script. The entire film is like a Greek play. That's how dialogue is delivered. So yes, Megalopolis. It's
Is there a chorus to it too?
Theater type fashion. and that's the entire. That's the problem I had with it. Was the entire dialogue. It's nothing's authentic about it. It's theater. You're watching theater.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. So look, if you want to go see it, go see it. I can't recommend it, but I feel like if Coppola wanted to say something about the fall of modern civilization, he could have made a documentary, or he could have, written an essay, a commentary for the editorial for the New York Times. He could have done something else.
Well, I think that's what this was.
Oh, you know what he could have
That's
done?
what this is.
Yeah.
You know what he could have done? Like what he did with Apocalypse Now, which is an adaptation of Heart of Darkness. What if he just did the Shakespearean Julius Caesar play and do it that way?
There's a lot of that in this.
There are a
play.
lot of shades of that. Yeah, because I got an essence of that in the script, but it didn't feel strong enough because you've got Platinum kind of coming in there and messing around with all this stuff.
Well, I mean, Adam Driver's character is named Caesar.
Oh, okay. Because in the script, I think he's named Serge or Sergey.
No, it's Caesar in the movie.
It's very much on the nose.
Should have been
There's
Caesar.
no subtlety. There's no, and they have like the sort of Roman haircuts with the bangs. I think men should never. This is more of a women know more about bangs. It's a choice, but on men with bangs, mistake.
Yeah, Maximus made it look cool in Gladiator, but other than that, very specific haircut. Don't do it. Don't do
And
it.
guys, you'll fall in love with Shia LaBeouf.
You won't actually.
Lies.
There we go. All right, let's pivot here for a second. I have let's pivot. We will pivot in a moment here. Wait, there is something right here.
I want you to hit me as hard as you can. What?
Okay, Alan, good job. Good job. There is a video that has surfaced. I wish Rob was here for this, but John Campea put out a clip, a video that I think begs commentary. It's like 5 minutes. We'll watch most of it. I will stop for commentary here and there, and let me know if you would like me to stop. Let me know, because I think he brought up an amazing point that is worthy of discussion and commentary. So we will watch this together. I'll put it up on
Time
screen
to get some
here.
new clips. I hope he says woke again. That's going to be a good
Maybe
one.
talking about another actor's junk for like 30
Yes,
minutes.
please. What did he hunt for this time?
The clips of John that go viral,
They're great.
do tend to be like on the embarrassing side, but this, I mean, it's fine. Look, out of context, I 100% have said stupid, insane stuff and clip me, whatever. But this, he's saying something worthy of discussion, worthy of all of us talking about. So I'll put my headphones on. I will, if you want me to pause it, raise your hand and I'll pause it. But we're gonna try to watch most of this, or at least a chunk to get it here. It was prompted by a question from his audience. So let's do this.
Okay, we got Anonymous who says AMC has now started what they're calling blockbuster pricing. Any movie under their definition of a blockbuster will be about $1 more expensive for the duration of their run. It used to only be opening weekend. If you look, Beetlejuice is more expensive. Is it? I mean, is it more expensive in like IMAX or Dolby, or is that across the board?
I'm a movie pundit. I, in my own head, at least, try to champion.
Okay,
Pundit.
the movie pundit. All right, that's he is. And look, I watch John regularly. He's very good, and I mean this as a compliment. I think he's very good at providing what a average moviegoer thinks. He's not really into indie movies or documentaries, or he is a fan of blockbuster mainstream entertainment. Okay, so you can and so I like that. I like that he is I again, not an insult. He's a normie's opinion on something, and that I want to hear that. So we'll continue here. We'll continue.
Normie show confirmed. Yeah.
In the movie industry. I love the movie industry. I love the movie going experience. But I'm getting so close to saying fuck you to the entire movie going industry.
Thanks, Anonymous.
Like, seriously, I'm getting so I believe I'm getting really, really close to just saying, you know what? Fuck the movie industry. I've been saying for a while now that if the movie going experience dies, the tombstone, you guys have heard me say this, the tombstone will not read, as some predicted all along throughout the eras, died by VHS or died by DVDs or died by Blu-ray or died by streaming. For every single one of those things, people predicted that movies were going to die, and it never did. You know what the gravestone's going to say? The gravestone will say, here lies the movie-going industry, death by suicide, because they're fucking killing themselves. They're killing themselves.
To bring up this pricing, if it is true, like,
yeah, what's his reason going to be? What does he actually think? Oh, sorry, you're muted.
No, please chime in.
Oh, I was just going to say, what is his? Because I think I could guess what his reason will be. What does he think the reason they're killing themselves? Because I don't think it's what the actual reason is.
They're making bad decisions. Now, look, I'm an A-list member. I pay the one fee monthly, but I guess for other people, there's blockbuster pricing. So if I'm just not a subscriber to A-list, like, you go in now, movies cost more. Now, it was James Cameron who actually suggested that. Like,
so he's talking about the cost of making, but does he understand that that's because they've fired everyone that knew how to make shit under budget, and that all we have now are, at the very best interpretation, of a bunch of incompetent people who kept their job, even if they're free of ideology? It's the reason everything is bloated.
I mean, I guess that's his point. It's by suicide. They're killing themselves. It's not from some other. It's not streaming. It's not, DVD. It's not this. It's not that. It's literally in-house. That's, I guess, his point. I'm still waiting here. I don't know if he goes into that any further than it, but that is an interesting position. Like, you guys are kind of doing it to yourselves.
The question is he blaming the movie theaters, or is he blaming Hollywood, the studio?
Right. Well, he says here the movie industry. So, yeah, what part of the industry is he blaming?
Because let's finish the video here.
Yeah, does he go into it? That's what I'm.
Say something, Alan?
No, look, Inside Out 2, Deadpool versus Wolverine. People will go see movies.
Mm-hmm.
Problem is there's nothing to watch other than the two movies.
That has to do with basically this unnatural expansion of Hollywood that grew between 2012 and 2018, and now it's burst, and now it's kind of resetting itself. Yeah. And the people that caused a lot of this problem are no longer getting work. And the people that managed to survive and hang on are struggling to find money. And some of the studio heads that have already changed gears, excluding Disney, are trying to figure out, well, how do we get back to the good old days? And can we go back to the good old days? And it's a little bit of a Wild West right now.
Yeah, but in a way, they're blaming John Campea, the moviegoer, those of us who like movies, by charging us extra by not producing anything we want to see. It's our fault. Again, we're the racists, we're the misogynists. It's
according to Disney. Yes.
Fault.
According to Disney, it's your fault that you're not going to go see their movies because, hey, we had $1 billion movie for 5 movies.
Play it
just
before
per
chat
year.
kills us. They're already
Let's
chat
get
wants
back
to
to
hear
the
it.
video
I
and then
wanna
we'll
hear it.
comment on the other side. Here we go.
Yeah.
We're just now like people are just starting to go back to the theaters, like and loving it. I mean,
I wonder if anyone will notice though. Like if it's $1 more, they'll
Well,
just
I
think
mean,
ticket prices
there
went
are
up.
some people that probably.
But here's the thing: the movie theaters, particularly AMC, under the leadership of that supreme grand poobah jackass they've got as the CEO, they believe in the whole killing a lobster slowly by putting. Because what do they say? You drop it in a pot of boiling water; it'll try to jump out. You put it in a pot of water and then slowly turn up the heat and boil it, and then you boil it to death.
It's a frog.
What companies like AMC, and remember, I know it doesn't sound like it. I have a lot of love in my heart for AMC still. I worked with them for a lot of years. I still know people that are there. There's always going to be a special place in my heart for AMC theaters. They're still the place that I go to primarily to watch my movies. But in most of the grand, stupidest decisions that have been made by the movie theater industry, AMC has led the way in them.
Oh my God.
And this whole other thing of these fucking morons who go, how do we make more money? Should we do things that will bring more people into the theaters? Nah. Let's just figure out ways to get more money out of the people who already come. And when those numbers decline, we'll just figure out a way to get more money to make up for it out of the people who still come. And when that chases a certain percentage of them away.
So he's echoing a complaint that
What
was
he is
actually a concern.
saying is they're trying to get more money out of the people who are already regular customers, which doesn't bring in new people. The audience, to be clear, numbers wise, the audience is shrinking. Fewer and fewer people are going to the movies on a regular basis. Have you ever seen those? They're not memes, but people will post a photo of a marquee from a movie theater in the 80s in some random weekend. And it's unbelievable how many cool movies. There's a romantic comedy and a comedy and an R-rated movie and an action movie and a sci-fi movie. And you go to the theater and just pick one. That's sold out. I'll go to this one instead.
Right.
Yeah, the options were limited. But what John's bringing up here is something I remember quite vividly in 2005 and 2006. And that is the theaters were actually upping the price even when the movies were still good.
Right.
Because they and it's actually a fool's errand for any business. You don't want to price your audience out of the ability to enjoy your product.
Yeah, and also so what he's saying, it's not bringing in new people. And Tarantino even said in an interview recently that movies used to be a blue collar entertainment.
Yep.
You know, it's like blue collar, you're not buying a ticket to a Broadway play for a couple $100, but you can spend $5 to go see a movie, and it was very blue collar. And now we've seen it even where they don't even address blue collar concerns. Blue collar characters used to populate the movies, right? Norma Ray, you can like Every Which Way You Can, Any Which Way But Loose. Clint Eastwood with a monkey movie. He was a trucker. Think of all the movies and the types of characters that were the heroes / protagonists in films. They were everyday working regular people. Hollywood has stopped telling those stories.
That's what I'm saying. Like he's saying it's from the theater standpoint, but the theaters are just putting out what Hollywood is making. So if Hollywood isn't making the kind of movies that people want to go to, why would people come to the movies? You know, like that's why I keep saying you got to go back and do original content, because everybody's kind of tired of the blockbuster. Everybody, I mean, yeah, you'll still go and see Deadpool and Wolverine and Inside Out. But like you said, the ticket prices are more expensive. So less people have to show up. You know, audiences are shrinking. We are seeing less people going to the theaters, you know, unless, you know, and what are theaters supposed to do to bring in people? What are they supposed to do?
Yeah, 'cause
Popcorn
theaters
buckets?
aren't making
Yeah,
these
you
movies.
can make popcorn buckets a thing, and you might get some people to show up because of a popcorn bucket, or you start putting on UFC or WWE content. And that's what you're doing, or you're putting on, but I mean, what are they supposed to do if Hollywood's just churning out crap? And nobody wants to go and see the crap that Hollywood churns out. And then, we'll just push this thing right to VOD, streaming or whatever within a couple of weeks, like we saw with the Fall Guy. The Fall Guy spent 3 weeks in theaters and then it goes to VOD. So why and I talk to my kids all the time because my kids are both Gen Z and they have zero interest, okay? Zero interest in going, shit, Alan, you were in my stream last night where we were talking about this. What is it that's going to get people to go to the theaters? Why should I go to the theaters? Kids don't go to the theaters. They want, and so they're losing the Gen Z audience by, the content that they're pushing out. Not only that, but the fact that they are allowing people to say, okay, we're just going to push this to streaming, within, a month or two. And so it's like, well, what's the point of going to a theater? So that's part of this whole situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you what draws kids into theaters are exceptionally good movies. Not just good movies. They have to be exceptionally good. And we're not getting that. And they know what's bad. They knew from the trailers that The Marvels was going to be a bad movie.
Yeah.
Show up.
And from your review, Alan.
And I had that kind of power.
Theaters should just be playing the best movies from all time on repeat. Like I went and I saw the entire extended edition of Lord of the Rings at my local theater. And like, if they were doing that for all the classics that I missed as a kid or, growing up, wasn't able to see, I'd go there every,
a third of my theater during that run, during the Lord of the Rings extended, was Gen Z, and they were dressed as
There you go.
Yeah,
because the parents
thing is, though,
passed it on.
If we were living in the golden age of movies right now, even if we're still getting priced out. That's the problem. And I agree with John here. And I rarely ever agree with John Campea, but he's right. We're being priced out, right? We're living in a time where a carton of eggs is $10. So people just don't have the money. I remember a time where you can go to the movie, go watch a movie, and then go watch another movie right after. You pay your $5 or $8 and go watch another movie right after that, right?
How do they pay rent?
You can't do
it's
that.
Not their fault.
You can't do that stuff anymore, though.
Yeah, but look, if you go to the theater down the street from my house, it's empty. Price it however you want. You've got to be able to draw people in. Yeah, you've got to be able to draw people in because if your theater is mostly empty most of the time at regular prices, it's going to be even less attended with higher prices.
No, that's not true. No, Alan, come on. There's a difference between dropping $20 for a movie and $10 for a movie, right?
But if no one's there, it doesn't matter. No one's there in the first place. It doesn't.
Well, they're not there because they don't want to pay $20 a movie.
No, they want to see good movies.
There's that. I mean, you're both kind of right. They're not there because they don't want to pay that much for a movie, and they're not there because the movies aren't any good. The other part too is that this is actually the first time in human history where the target demographic, the 18 to 35, don't have disposable income.
Yeah.
They just don't. In fact, we comment frequently about, they're targeting the modern audience. Well, the modern audience, every generation is 18 to 35 and what we think they want. And that's what we're trying to appeal to. But the 18 to 35 in this generation, we don't really know what they want. And what we see of what they want looks terrible. And they're very, very small. And they also don't have any money. So the audiences they have to be targeting for are basically over 35 to 60. But at the same time, they know what the prices are at movies. They don't want to spend the little money that they do have and do get on going to go see a movie that's going to suck, especially when it's so transparent now with the advertising and also with the way that journalists these days are not actually covering what's the story about, what character are you playing. They're talking about how gay is it, what type of ideology is it pushing here.
Is this the gayest show ever?
Exactly. It's like it's not. There's a big problem with the publication side of things, the advertising side of things, and the studios that have actually abandoned the ideology that Disney is doubling down on are taking too long to kind of course correct at this point.
But just a sec, we're not here to bag on Campea. I want to discuss what he is talking about.
I'll defend the movie theaters. What are they supposed to do? They have to pay rent, and there's no movies bringing people in, even if they play all the classics. They're still playing Deadpool and Wolverine, for Christ's sake.
Yeah,
and it's hard to gauge like. The theater I go to on a regular basis, AMC Burbank 16, that is the #1 most profitable AMC theater in the nation. It's 16 screens. It's nearly always packed. Even when a small movie goes there, they get they get a decent audience. But around the country and where you are, Alan, like I hear stories of people go in and they're basically going into an empty theater. It's kind of sad.
There's 25 parking spots in front of my theater. And if I can actually find a parking spot, it's a bad business.
The thing is, you're not just paying $20 for the ticket, right? You're paying $15 for a soda, $15 for popcorn, right? You're dropping at least $50.
Well, let's not go. If you can find a way to sneak in a cup,
okay. If you don't do the grifter thing, then sure, you'll spend less. But my point is like we just said, it used to be a blue collar thing where you could take your family, you could take a family to go watch a movie and not drop $100 like you do now.
Yep, that's how much I pay if I take my family to see a movie. At least $100.
I can go to a comic.
That's only because you get hamburger and pizza, Alan.
Yes, and my family.
Why don't you smuggle in a hamburger yourself?
Well, my wife does that all the time.
Let's watch
$60. $60.
Oh, no. Here we go. Come on. All right.
We'll make up for that deficit by charging those fewer people now that are still coming even more. This ain't rocket science. When I walk into a movie theater boardroom, I shouldn't be the smartest guy in the room.
Facts.
It is not high calculus to figure out, you know what we need to do? We need to bring people back to the theaters in bigger numbers. We should be working to increase the movie-going experience. Maybe stop showing 30 fucking minutes of trailers before that nobody wants. We want trailers. Nobody wants 30 minutes of trailers. Nobody wants $12 popcorn buckets. I understand concessions have to be a little bit more expensive. That's how the movie theaters make their money. I do understand that. But instead of focusing on how do we bring more people back to the theaters and increase the enjoyment of the movie-going experience, jackalopes like AMC and the people who run it are saying, how can we squeeze more money out of the few people that still come? And creating a death spiral to themselves. Fuck you, AMC. Let's just figure out more ways to add more prices to everything. Fucking more prices. Well, John, we have to increase prices because we got to think. Well, then do things to bring more people in instead of chasing more people away. Nah. It's just easier to do this. It's not rocket science. Meanwhile, fucking anal cavities like the guy running AMC give themselves $9 million bonuses while they continue their mission of chasing more and more people away from the movie theaters. And if it sounds like I get upset about this, it's because this is something that I love. I love the movie theaters. I love the movie-going experience. But they're killing themselves. They're killing themselves and trying to keep themselves on life support by tapping the veins of the people who still come. And that's a fucked up way to do business.
He's not wrong.
I'm still trying to figure out.
He's not wrong at all. He's not wrong at all. I don't know
anal cavity reference.
What is anal cavity?
Yeah, that was kind of wrong.
What does he think the
that dude
solution
an
is,
anal
though?
cavity.
How could the theaters bring more people in, ignoring the state of the movie industry? Free popcorn day? What are we doing?
That's what I'm saying. Like, what do you do? You have like what is it? Like I said, you can offer them stuff like, hey, we have this special popcorn bucket, and that might get some more people to show up, or whatever. Chris Gore will definitely show up for that. You can have, they've changed the theaters, like the layout of the theaters are completely different. Now you have the recline,
bowling alleys now, and brew houses and restaurants.
I think like every theater I go to has a bar, so you can kind of make an evening of it.
A theater for like $50 and like play video games on it or watch movies. They're insane.
Yeah, but
they got to do what they got to do. That's the problem.
Yeah, a lot of theaters I know do events like that, especially in like in summer. They'll do special events to get the families in and do special discounts for families and kids that come in. They'll play all the favorite family
Yeah.
films. Like theaters have to do that. That's what you should do. And yeah, I agree with Campea doing that. AMC has just lost it as far as their approach. That shouldn't be to like punish the consumer. You should try to be incentivizing the consumer in other ways for them to come in, entice them to coming in and spend their money and feel like they're getting a good value for their money. And yeah, it's just some theater chains can do that and have gotten a handle on it and are succeeding. I don't think like nickel and diming you though. That's no, you're just gonna like, yeah, kill AMC is gonna slowly die if it continues that, I think.
Yeah.
But
I mean, one thing
there's only a
you're not talking about is, Chris and I have heard stories of just this war that goes on between the studios and the movie theaters, especially the family-owned movie theaters. It gets very contentious at times. Who gets on the big screen? How many weeks you go? The cut you take. It is frustrating to the point of almost wanting to give up and get out of the business altogether.
Oh, I've heard the blowbacks when a movie doesn't perform. Like I've heard the screaming shouts from the hallway where it's like, why didn't you make this much money at the theater? Well, why didn't you make a good movie? Like it's literally that type of childish argument that goes on.
It's interesting that when Disney was hot, they could dictate all the rules. And then when it started going bad, when Wish came out, when the Marvels came out, oh boy, did that tone change fast.
And I feel like studios used to like have a good working relationship with the theaters and not anymore. It's like
AMC and Regal, yes, but
against
not
each other, that they're competing against each other.
Now. Yeah.
I mean, there are movies that could have gone to theaters that just went straight to streaming, and there used to be like this synergy between the two businesses, and now it's just like everyone for themselves.
Well, it's awkward because 2 minutes left. Let's watch the last couple minutes here.
And I am getting dangerously close as the biggest champion for the movie going experience to saying, you know what, guys, nobody go to the movie theaters anymore. Nobody go anymore. Fuck those guys. Screw them for constantly trying to rip off and squeeze every dollar out of every individual person that they can. Screw them for refusing to acknowledge what would make a better experience for people coming to their movie theaters. Just screw them. Screw the studios for shortening more and more and more the theatrical window for movies. We're at a point now, guys, where I'm literally reading stories about a studio announcing a digital release date for a movie that hasn't even started its theatrical run yet. Conditioning the audience more and more. You don't need to go to the movie theaters. We're going to have the new Glenn Powell, whatever movie it is, on home streaming in 7 days after it opens in theaters. That's hyperbole, I'm saying, but it's making a point. So yeah, I'm getting close to the point of saying, fuck the movie business. Fuck them. They don't care about us. They just see us as grapes to be squeezed. Fuck them. Anyway. Thanks, Anonymous.
Yeah, thank you.
I totally disagree with that last half. It's like blaming gas stations for gas prices.
Right.
Well,
right.
he put it equally on both sides. I think he said, yeah, the theaters are, gouging you and trying to get more money out of your pocket. At the same time, the movies are announcing, hey, it's going to streaming VOD in record time. So it's like it's both sides need to figure this thing out.
But the thing is,
even that's part of it.
Are in survival mode, and they're doing whatever they can to do is survive. The studios aren't, and the studios have the power because they're the ones producing it. And I don't blame movie theaters because if people give up like John Campea will, it's going to radically change the way we experience movies from now on. Because Netflix has already given up on theaters.
Yeah,
they definitely have movies that should be in theaters.
Deadpool and Wolverine with an entire crowd screaming and you can feel the energy is the type of movies you want to see with the crowd in theaters. And like, I don't want that to go away, but that can't just be because concessions are expensive and because the tickets are expensive. It has to be because a lot of the things that they're offering just aren't good, unfortunately.
And that's not the movie theater's fault.
Exactly.
No, it isn't. It isn't.
even
The
when they
movie
are
theaters can only
good-
show what's available on. That's it. They can only
So it's
show
not
what's
the
available.
studios shortening the release window; it's them producing short.
Well, it's also like that too, because even good movies are pushed to streaming very soon. Like Doom Part 2, I think, was available to purchase digital within like 7 weeks or something like that. It was crazy.
You know, like
was
45
doing
How long
days
did
after.
movies
very
sit in
well.
theaters when we were
Yeah.
coming up? Movie would sit in theaters for
6 months.
How long did Titanic
at the
run
very
in the
least
theater?
6 months. At
Yeah.
the very least 6 months before you even thought about it coming out on video.
Yeah.
And
So
Twisters was doing great as well. And I think they announced it was coming out a month later on streaming. And A Quiet Place Day 1, the weekend I went to see it, like the next day, they announced it was going to streaming the next week. And it was only
that's
like the
hurting
opening
the
weekend
theater.
I saw it. I
That
was
is
like,
called
what?
panic behavior because
And it was
they're
doing
looking
solid
for-
numbers.
It was doing solid numbers, but it's a panic behavior because they're just looking at, we need to make X amount of dollars by the end of this quarter.
Right.
And they're just trying to bring that cash in all the way too quickly. I think it has to do with there's been this horrible habit, and this habit has been spoken about since 2010, which is that studios aren't investing in mid-budget movies anymore in the $10 to $30 million range. And when you're doing that and you're spending up to $100 million, yeah, you as a producer, you're taking a great cut of that for yourself. But now you've just made the distance for making money on on that film so much further away than it ever has been before. And studios have to kind of break that habit. And it's really, really, I mean, right now Paramount's kind of doing it, even though they're struggling under and going through a massive amount of layoffs with their new ownership at Skydance. Warner Brothers is still in that dicey territory, but they've had some pretty good movies with Doom Part 2, with Wonka, and what was the other one that just came out recently that did fairly okay? It's escaped my mind right now, but they're kind of on the slow path of recovery. I have no idea what the heck's going on at Universal right now. Sony has been Sony. Like they haven't changed much in a while. They put out a good one here and there, but most of the time they're kind of mid films. And then Disney, well, they're spending, triple digits and then some, not just on feature films, but on freaking streaming stuff as well.
Yeah.
Like it's just so much money out, no opportunity for it to come in. And what are the theaters supposed to do? Well, if the audience is on the decline, we need to make sure we make up our revenue for each quarter so that we can maintain operations. So we have to raise prices. So it's basically a snake eating its own tail at this point.
Yeah. And as someone pointed out, the leaks are higher than ever, the higher quality than ever, because we used to have to rely every once in a while a screener would get released. But now, because everything is prepped for streaming, bro, you have like a 4K release leaked like within a week and it's still out in the theaters.
Yeah, I think Doom Part 2 was leaked. A high
And everyone
definition
sails the
version.
high seas
It was
because we've all
leaked
been
on
hurt.
Twitter.
Yeah.
It was Dune Part 2 was leaked on Twitter. I watched it. I still went and saw it in the theater. I was watching it on it was on
it's there.
So you
It
saw
was
it in
there, I
IMAX
saw it.
and your phone?
Yeah, as it
I
was
still
meant to
think
be
there's
seen
a-
on my iPad.
I still think
Alright.
there's something to be said for the way that people go to like when we went to theaters back in the day to watch movies, we didn't even know what movie we were going to see. We just showed up at the
Yes.
movies and we looked and say, okay, what's playing? Oh, okay, let's go watch that. Oh, we don't want to have to wait around. Let's just watch the 6:30 such and such, or maybe somebody might watch the 5:30. Okay, and then we'll meet up at the arcade and we'll play games until until the movie dropped, and then we would all go in, and then afterwards we would go get a bite to eat or whatever. That's how we used to go to movies. That was the movie going experience back
Home
in the
before
day.
the street lights turn on.
Yeah, exactly. But we don't do that anymore. You got your assigned seats that you picked up on the app, and everybody is going at a specific time, at a specific place. And you really don't see like hey, let's just show up to the theaters and let's see whatever's playing. That's how I saw Amadeus. I had no reason to be loving Amadeus back in the day. Dante falling asleep.
I thought
I
you
had
were
no,
asleep,
like,
Dante.
I saw Amadeus. I saw Amadeus
something.
at like 12 years old, 11 or 12 years old, however old I was,
Yeah.
because it was what was playing. And I was at the theaters and I had seen everything else. And I was, all right, well, let me go watch Amadeus, which, and I loved it. I thought it was a great movie. But that's how we used to watch movies. And we no longer watch movies like that. So the movie going experience has massively changed, just the way people interact with film. And now people are more willing to say, hey, I got a 70-inch screen at the house. I got a great surround sound. I'll just wait for this stuff to come on stream.
People aren't
or I'll just watch
talking.
Netflix, which I will never get to the end of Netflix. So there's something to watch and entertain you. And that just wasn't the way it used to be. So I think just the ecology of film going has changed tremendously.
We've
Well,
also
there
lost the
also
surprise.
used to be like the matinee, right? You could go see a
Yeah.
matinee show for
$5.
half the price.
They still
Right.
have matinees. It's $10 at my theater.
But the thing is, we also miss the
I don't think
surprises.
AMC has matinees.
Really?
They do have
No,
matinees.
they, they do.
You
Do
only
they?
save 30%. That's it, 30%.
Yeah.
And they do $5 movies on Tuesdays, but it's like, they show like old classics, like I saw Batman Forever and Batman 89 for $5. So
Worth it.
So,
I
do
like
you
that.
remember in the late 90s when you never knew when a new trailer was going to come out? Because I remember vividly in 98, that first teaser for Star Wars Episode 1.
People
that
went to the
nobody
movie
knew
just to
about.
watch the trailer.
No,
Right,
the news
they
didn't
did.
cover it. The trades
Yeah.
didn't cover it. It just happened, and people were like, "Holy crap!" And then they started going to every movie they could just to see what that teaser was about. They then did it a few years later for The Matrix Reloaded. Nobody knew when that trailer was going to drop, and the fact of the matter is that magic, that surprise, has not been in movie theaters since, unfortunately, YouTube came into existence.
And
YouTube
the news
so
played the Phantom Menace trailer. The actual fucking news played the trailer, and then
Right.
everyone went to the movie, bought tickets. I forgot what it was, just so they could watch the beginning trailers and see. Like, that's how the hype for that movie was back
I
in the day.
remember downloading a cam version of the trailer. It took half a day.
Yeah.
And then it was the
Dial
cam
up.
version in the theater. I think everybody had the cam version, which it was awesome. But look,
Yeah.
things have changed from going to the movies, and there was a variety.
Frighteners.
There was something for everyone and for every mood. A teen sex comedy, right, with boobs. There was a dumb action movie.
With boobs.
But there was science fiction. There was a variety of films.
Yeah.
I think we're even lacking in variety. So it was a good conversation. I appreciate John speaks his mind. He says what he thinks, and I believe him when he used the word anal cavity.
Well, he wasn't totally wrong. That's the thing.
Yeah, no, I think it's worth discussing. All
So
right,
next week, Grace Randolph will be.
you showed Grace Randolph, Alan, here.
Not as long as that, that's for sure.
All right, let's get to you've been very patient, and we have to. Dante, myself, DA, and Alan are all going to see Joker 2. We'll do a live stream tonight. DA and Dante, you are both invited. No obligation. It's all good.
I'm actually heading out to DA's area to watch it. So,
well, there you go. But that'll be late. It's probably around 11 p.m. by the time we get it together. So 11 p.m. Pacific. But let's go to Super's Badger. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
We got a lot, so let's go fast. Let's go.
Okay. GJJ member for 1 month says nothing.
And to our new members, join us on Discord and look at the members only videos. Alan is posting a ton of videos from Catalina Island.
yep. Once I
Wait,
edit them
have
all
you?
together, though.
What's that?
I got to edit it together. There's a lot of videos there.
Okay, so Alan, you're gonna get Alan
Your video,
Adventures,
yes. I'll be
Q&As from screenings, a lot of exclusive stuff. So check it out.
John Monalang, Kristen Milati is killing it. A member for 26 months, killing it in the Penguin. What a refreshing surprise of a show. Holy shit.
Thank you, John Manalang, and for being a member for that long. We appreciate your support.
Jeff Romadix, member for 9 months. How Superman shows we had versus Batman's house? How many Superman versus Batman shows have we had?
It's like 4 to
Obviously,
1 ratio, I
yeah,
think.
way
Yeah.
more Superman.
Yeah.
Nandy for 199. Old Man season 2 is better. Okay, that's why I made that question because this first season. Brobo Cops for 2. Chris, will you be reviewing Terrifier 3?
Not only am I reviewing it, I've already purchased my ticket. There's a fan event that shows both movies, and there's a popcorn bucket. And I'm going to Monster Palooza, not this weekend, next weekend. I'll be at Monster Palooza. So maybe
I will not
Damien
be reviewing Terrifier 3.
I will be reviewing Terrifier 3. But I like Terrifier 2, so there you go.
Charlie Ragsdale for 199. Thunderbolts greater than Suicide Squad.
We'll see. We'll see.
Graph Web for 2. The power of Christ compels you. Hashtag cancel Disney Plus.
Yeah, you got
Graph Web.
that cancel Disney Plus on George's show, and I was waiting for you
He
to
did.
sing it.
Did you see that he super chatted it twice? But I didn't want to
You
be
need
rude
to
George.
sing.
I didn't want to interrupt. No, I'm sorry. Next time. Jason Webster for 5. British film Mark Kermode said, Megalopolis disappears up its own fundament amidst staggeringly boring set pieces.
Accurate.
Helos ending for 5. Sorry, just joined the stream. Have you guys already talked about how the Megalopolis poster is an obvious ripoff of Deus Ex Human Revolution? Having played that game, I did not notice it being a ripoff. It does look I think we were busy talking about just how horrible of a movie it is, not the poster.
A crime nonetheless.
Yes, a crime nonetheless. John Platt gifted 1 Film Threat membership, so congratulations to whoever got hit. Jason Webster for 5. Kermode also called Megalopolis bloated, indulgent, pretentious, and unbelievably dull.
Accurate.
Lean back, have a snack, take a nap for 5. Everything I've heard about Megalopolis makes me think of when Norm Macdonald said, sounds like a bunch of comedy gobbledygook.
Comedy gobbledygook.
Yeah, I agree.
comedy
Thanks for
gobbledygook,
the super chat.
Film Threat, Rumble Rant, $1. What is the love? What is love? Albert, not a retro for 5. Just finished watching the Rockford Files on DVD. How little the world has actually changed in many ways. Watch the show and see.
Yes, Rockford Files is awesome.
A lot of those old shows hold up. Streets of San Francisco, stuff like that. Jason Webster for 5. Shia LaBeouf gives his most slappable performance in Megalopolis 2024.
That is true.
Yes, performance.
Albert, not a retro for 2. When is somebody going to do a Larry Bird biopic?
He's white for
biopic. Zian Hugh for 742. If you want to drive customers away quickly, raise prices. If you want to drive customers away slowly, lower product quality. If you do both.
Yep, that's what's happening.
Patrick Reddy for 10. Studios had access to cheap credit due to low interest rates, ESG scores, after market crash, and they'll have to revert to movies people are willing to actually go see. Right. They need to go back to meritocracy.
Absolutely. Hey, Knee Pain,
friend of the channel and show. For 20, having transitioned from the industry to fintech, it's horrific how bad the industry is at finance and project management. I knew it was bad when I was in, but had to step away to see the big picture, not just bad stories.
Oh, dude, Knee Pain, you're preaching to the choir because I've been dealing with marketers and accountants for over a decade, and you're lost as to what they're spending money on and why they're budgeting this way and where that money's going.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think that Hollywood has become less efficient with money than the government. Like, the government can't do anything cheap. They try to install one public toilet in San Francisco. It would cost $4 million and it didn't get done. That's why I think all these Disney budgets are out of control. They don't know how to make something inexpensively.
Yeah, by the way, one of the actresses from the Acolite was at Catalina, and she talked about being on set and how incredible and detailed these sets were. And her quote was, I think that's where they spent most of their money.
On the sets?
On the sets, yes.
Well, I mean, the stagecraft volume is very, very expensive, and they've been building them all over the world. But even then, it doesn't justify that expense. And also the new models here, like what I call the J.J. Abrams model, which is, you get on as producer and you get your normal cut. Well, no, I'm going to give myself a couple other titles and get more of those cuts from the budget, and it's going to go to me, and that's less for actually going into production.
They spend it on CGI.
Down the line.
I just think
Badger.
I just think Disney can't do anything cheaply.
Nope.
For low budget. And a lot of that is there is a talent for a filmmaker to get more out of their money, because you're always, as the director, producer, you're solving problems on the set. You're solving problems. We can do it digital. We can fix it in post, or we can do this thing right now. Did you see the behind the scenes of Oppenheimer?
Yeah.
There's a great thing where they show how they did these effects. It was like Chris Nolan off camera spinning a light that made these weird light effects. It was so like homegrown and low tech, and it was effective the way it was cut and the way it was augmented with sound. Like, solving a problem inexpensively, it takes creativity, and they just don't have it. It's like the government. How do you solve a problem? Spend more money, send billions over here or over there. It's like, that's not how you solve problems.
Yeah, you can't just throw money at it. The true
Yes.
art form of creativity is, as I said before, if you have obstacles, you have to really work hard to get around them. And you
Yes.
can't do that by solving it with money.
Yeah.
Yes,
Which is
that
why
is
independent
true.
filmmakers make better movies than the big studios.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And by the way, today is the final deadline for Award This to submit your film. In the next week or so, we're announcing the nominees. So let's keep reading these. Thanks, Payne.
Stavizzi for 10. I'd rather watch a new movie in the comfort of my home.
So would many others. Thanks for that.
Sons and Shadows. Hi, Jeff. For 5. The quality of the movie going experience. It must be it must be good to instill confidence. That affects going to cell phones, talking, kids. Yeah, all those things will absolutely ruin the experience.
Here's the website. Thanks, Sons and Shadows. Here's the website, awardthis.com. Go there or go to filmthreat.com. Click on submit film. And if you miss the deadline, don't worry. You'll be eligible in the following year. The event is in December. We will announce the date, the venue, and when tickets are on sale. And we have comedian hosts this year I'm very excited about. So I think Dante will be there. I think all of you are invited, by the way. So there you go.
M for 350. Film Threat is medicine when life gets rough. Popcorn, soda, pizza, hamburgers, and of course, Film Threat. Yes,
that's right. Thank you.
Charles Harrison for 199. Just giving a shout out.
All right.
Doesn't say anything. Charles Harrison for $5.01. I think Film Threat ought to build a production company, Film Threat LLC, and distribute their own stuff.
Well, we did. If you have Attack of the Doc, the Film Threat logo was at the beginning. I have another documentary that's hopefully will be finishing soon. Another film I'm working on. I'm re-releasing my movie, my big fat independent movie next year. Or we got delayed, but we're putting it out early next year. It's coming out, and that's through Film. So we are doing it, but that's like a whole separate job. So.
And don't forget Acolite Season 2.
And Acolite Season 2 on Film Threat Plus.
Mr. Buttcrack Media, member for 19 months. Hail Chris and to all on the panel.
Thank you so much, Mr. Buttcrack.
Adrian for 20. Remember inflation. The cost of goods and labor has also hit the movie theaters and their thin margins. Hollywood has shown they don't care about the local theater with their release of poor movies, movie options, and strikes.
Thank you, Adrian. Very generous. I appreciate that.
Nerd Far Away, member for 18 months. Because I can, for fuck's sake, cancel Rings of Power.
Ooh, nice. Thanks, Nerd Far Away.
Tina Guzman, member for 5 months. LA Times calendar had a movie preview for all new movies coming out.
I remember that. That was great.
I love that. I used to read calendar section all the time.
That was my go-to.
LA Times calendar section.
LA Times, I would read it. I loved it.
Yeah. Safax member for 23 months. Joker tonight could be good. I'll see you out there.
We'll see you there. Guys. We will be there.
Albert, not a retro for 5. You want old shows? Get a HD UHF antenna. They play the classics from the 50s to the 90s.
Nice.
Charles Harrison for 3. Disney is a money laundering scheme.
It feels like it sometimes.
Yeah,
definitely.
It definitely feels
can't even
that way.
disagree with that anymore.
I can't disagree with it. So yeah. All right. A few more comments here.
Red French Moon, member for 8 months. Only Murder in the Building? Seriously?
Yes, it is.
What are you guys talking about?
Yeah,
Steve Martin and Martin Short are brilliant in it. It's the few comedy you'll find on television. I think it's on Hulu. I watched.
God bless you. Still saying Penguin is the best thing out right now, but by all means, check out Only Murders in the Building. Script doctor approved.
And thank you to our mods, Lord Thoth and the Chicago Box. Yeah. Thank you to Atomic Lori and Glenn Uccio, our producer, and the director of season 2 of Acolite. Wait, Last super
Red
chat.
French Moon for 5. Why, when citing the great shows, people always forget The Americans, best spy stuff ever, or Black Sails, great versus today. Thanks. Yeah, Black Sails was great. Never watched The Americans, but I heard it was good.
We will be back next week when everyone here will have seen Joker 2. We'll talk about it with our group, a spoiler discussion. So get ready for that. Later tonight, we're doing Film Threat After Dark, a late night stream. It'll be a shorter one. We will talk Joker 2, our first impressions. I want to thank everyone on our panel. Links to their channels in the description. Also, we're pointing you over to Badger's live stream right after this. I have fun on that, Badger. We are heading to AMC Burbank 16 to go see Joker 2. We'll be meeting up there. Did I forget anything, Alan? Did I forget?
Yeah, you know what? I'll be at the AMC in Rolling Hills to watch it. So there's still seats in the first 2 rows. If you want to
Don't talk to him though, but yeah, he'll be
Don't
there.
talk to me, please.
All right, great. Thanks, everyone. I love my Mondays talking with everybody here and spending time with everyone in the chat. It's always a fun, nerdy conversation. So thanks again. Alan?
Let's get out of here.